Hello everyone, welcome to the daily newspaper analysis of the Shankar IAS Academy brought to you by the Civilspedia team. And this video current affairs is for the date of 20th of December 2024. So for today's date, we would be discussing three articles. The first article titled Lunchtime, a seasonal visit of spot-billed pelican from the Hindu. Here we would be discussing about the key indicator species called the spot-billed pelican and their facts. The second article titled Mills want to export 2 million tons of sugar amid price crash from the Indian Express. In this article, we would be discussing about the sugar industry as well as the sugarcane production. And the last article titled Kejriwal takes on Shah. Babasaheb is no less than a god of modern India from the Indian Express. In this article, we would be discussing about the biography of Dr. BR Ambedkar and his contributions and his legacies. So without any much further delay, let's get into the articles discussion one by one along with the MCQ. Kejriwal criticized Union Home Minister for his remarks on Babasaheb Ambedkar and emphasized that Dr. Ambedkar is no less than a god of modern India. So in today's video, through this article, let us see a very detailed analysis of Babasaheb Ambedkar's biography and his contributions and his legacies. Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, or known as Dr. BR Ambedkar, is a prominent Indian jurist, a social reformer, an economist, politician, and at the same time, a real change maker. From being a chief architect of our Indian constitution to fighting for the social justice and equality of the downtrodden caste, which exists even today, he is seen as an epitome of courage, resilience, and the change. His contribution to education, to empowering the Indian citizens, his inclusive ideals stand as a standing vision to the development and to form as a foundation of our Indian democracy and governance throughout our generations. So, looking into the early life and education, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was born on April 14th in the Mahau district of Madhya Pradesh. His mother name is Bhimbai Sakpal and his father name is Subedar Ramji Malaugi Sakpal, who was a well-read individual, and at the same time he was a follower of the Sant Kabir. Sant Kabir is a 15th century poet and a saint whose traditionals are rooted from the Bhakti movements and Sufism. Dr. Ambedkar passed away on December 6th of 1956, and that day was commemorated as the Mahaparinirvan Divas. Maha means great and Parinirvan in Buddhism means ultimately attaining the nirvana or liberating from the death. So looking into his educational background, he studied across a lot of schools in Maharashtra, and he was one of the few Dalit students, and he outrightly faced a lot of criticism, but he rose through heights through his academic excellence. He got his degree from his Bombay University, and also he got his higher studies from the Columbian University of the New York and London School of Economics. Now looking into his major contributions in the social reform and activism category, he founded the Bahishkrit Hitkarini Sabha of 1923, where they raised voices for the welfare of the depressed classes. So Bahishkrit means the oppressed and Hitkarini means for the welfare. And following that, he founded the newspaper Bahishkrit Bharat in 1927, which addresses the social issues and at the same time which voices the flight of the untouchable. And he formed one of the most landmark satyagraha, which is called the Mahad Satyagraha in 1927 on the following same year, where he demanded for the public water access for the untouchables. Now looking into his political involvement and his role, he participated in all the three roundtable conferences from the year of 1930 to 1932. So the roundtable conferences are conducted during the British government in London after the rejection of the Simon Commission in 1928 by our Indian leaders. And in 1932, he signed the landmark Pune Pact, where he negotiated with Mahatma Gandhi for bringing in a separate electoral along with reserved seats for the depressed class. He also founded the Indian Labour Party in 1936 and Scheduled Caste Federation in 1942. Now looking into the role in the Indian Constitution of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he was elected to the Constituent Assembly member from the Bengal as he represented Bengal in 1947. So the Constituent Assembly was formed to draft our Indian Constitution after independence. He became the chairman of the drafting committee for the formation of our Indian Constitution, and he earned the title Father of the Indian Constitution. Now looking into his government service, He became the member of the Council of the Governor General in 1942 as the labor representative, and after independence he was the first law minister of India in 1947 to 1951, but he later resigned his position over the dilution of the Hindu Code Bill. So the Hindu Code Bill is legal reforms which aimed at modernizing and codifying the personal Hindu laws, where it focused on addressing issues of women when it comes to property rights, inheritance, marriage, divorce, and so on. Since the bill got a lot of opposition and criticism from the before society, he had to resign from the position in itself. So Dr. Ambedkar stated that democracy and independence is very incomplete without the social, gender, and equality. So in his later life, he converted to Buddhism to landmark his spiritual liberation, and his memorial was positioned in Mumbai called Chaitya Bhumi. We have seen his organizations founded, and let us look into a few of his books written by Dr. Ambedkar. The first one would be the famous Annihilation of the Caste book. Next book would be the Buddha and his Dharma. Next is the Untouchables. Who are they and why they have become untouchables? Next would be the Rise and Fall of Hindu Women, and the next book would be Buddha or Karl Marx. And looking into his journals, he founded the weekly newspaper called Mook Nayak, which spoke about the voice of the oppressed classes. Next, we have seen the Bahishkrit Bharat. Next periodical would be Samata, where it spoke for the oppressed classes. And the next newspaper would be Janata, which spoke about the causes of Dalits and their disadvantages. And looking into his awards and honors, he was posthumously awarded the India's one of the highest civilian award of the honor called the Bharat Ratna in 1990. Now, I hope there is a clear understanding and a detailed understanding of the biography of Dr. BR Ambedkar, and let us move on to a prelims practice question. Which of the following parties were established by Dr. Ambedkar? And this question came in 2012 of UPSC. The options would be the Peasants and the Workers' Party of India. The next option would be All India Scheduled Caste Federation, and the third option would be Independent Labour Party. And the correct answer is option B, which is the All India Scheduled Caste Federation and the Independent Labour Party. Now, moving on to the second article, the mills want to export 2 million tons of sugar amid the price crash. So, in light of this article, let us see the basics of the sugar production of India and at the same time about the sugarcane production. Now, looking into India's position in the global sugar production, India is one of the second largest producer when it comes to sugar after the country Brazil, and the sugar industry is also one of the second largest agro-based industry. So, the sugar industry is known for its significant contributor to the agriculture and industrial economy, where they employ almost over 50 million farmers and numerous workers in the ancillary sections, which is the subordinate sections or the work. Looking into the major sugarcane producing state, let us look into the map. Here, Uttar Pradesh is one of the top state in producing the sugarcane in the Ganga Yamuna Doab region. The next state would be Maharashtra, where there is perfect climate conditions and at the same time they have the tropical climate condition. The third state would be Karnataka, where they are known for their fed irrigation methods. The fourth state would be Tamil Nadu, and the fifth state would be Andhra Pradesh, along with Bihar and so on. So this part is known to be a tropical region for the sugarcane production, and this part is known to be a subtropical region for their sugarcane production. So before moving to the factors, sugarcane is one of the cash crop of India, and their allied products can be molasses, ethanol, bagasse, through which the end product would be biofuels and so on. Now let us look into the factors favoring the sugar production. The first would be the climatic conditions. Here there is a need for tropical and subtropical climate, which can be 20 degree to 40 degrees Celsius. They need a moderate rainfall, which can be to 70 to 110 centimeter. They need to have the rich soils and water resources, for example for fertile loamy or alluvial soils with a good drainage system. The next factor would be having large scale cultivation, where there is an extensive farming areas for the sugarcane production, and at the same time we need a high yield sugarcane varieties. Now looking into the labor availability, the need of high rural population is important for the extensive labor power. Now looking into the government policies when it comes to sugarcane production, the first one would be the fair and remunerative price. It is a minimum price which is given by the sugarcane mills to the sugarcane producing farmers. This price is determined by the government, where it is annually determined by the CA CP, Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. So this FRP is a government mandated price. And the other policies would be subsidies for export and ethanol blending, where it extensively talks about the 20% increase in the ethanol blending by the year of 2025. So the target is the 20% of ethanol blending through the program called Ethanol Blending Program. Now, looking into the sugarcane irrigation system, there are two methods. One is their conventional method, and next is their improved method. Here, for any sugarcane production, they will be using the seed cane. So, these are nothing but the sugarcane stalks, which are used as a planting material to the crop cultivation. So in conventional method, these seed cane can be required in more than 7 to 8 tons, which needs a more of water usage, land usage, and at the same time it need a lot of labor efficiency. So when transforming from the conventional method to improved method, when it comes to irrigation, there are few methods which were used for the sugarcane production. First one would be bud chip planting. So from the multiple seed canes, a bud would be taken as a single bud chip and it would be planted where there is more efficiency, usage of water efficiency, cost efficiency, and at the same time labor efficiency. The next method would be tissue culture, where there is cloning of sugarcane plants in the laboratories. Next is single bud planting. Here the difference between this method and this method is here there is a usage of bud chip machinery to cut off the bud, but here the seed cane is directly used for the plantation of the sugarcane crop. Here single bud planting is happening rather than multiple bud planting. And the last method would be germination, where the set of buds would be germinated in a separate place, where there would be the growing of shoots for 10 to 14 days, and then it would be planted on the soil for the production of the sugarcane. So in difference between these methods, as I told before, since it's a water intensive crop, due to the improved irrigation systems, there is less usage of water, there is cost efficiency, there is labor efficiency, and also usage of land hectares are regulated. So this was also a UPSC question in one of our prelims exam. Now looking into few government initiatives, first one, as I told before, the ethanol blending EBP initiative. Next one would be the minimum selling price for sugar, that is the price support for the farmers, as I told before. Next one would be rationalization of sugarcane pricing, where the revenue sharing formula is brought in to reduce the farmer mill disputes. Next is bringing in export subsidies, that is having incentives for the exports of the sugarcane during the peak year or the surplus year, so that there is a balance between both the sugarcane producing farmers and the sugar mills who are using the sugar product. And next is to provide soft loans to the mills. Here there is a need for the modernization and timely payments to the farmers, so that there is equal recognition for their work and profit. And last one would be sustainable sugarcane initiative. This initiative is brought in for the productivity and resource use efficiently, and this was also a 2014 question from our prelims exam. Now I hope you have seen the foundation for the sugarcane production and as well as the details on it. Let us move on to the prelims practice question. Which of the following irrigation method is the most suitable for sugarcane cultivation to conserve water? And the option would be drip irrigation. So to promote this drip irrigation, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchai Yojana was initiated to promote the drip irrigation when it comes to the sugarcane production, thus promoting efficient irrigation almost. Now moving on to the last news, a spot-billed pelican has been spotted in the Uppalapadu Bird Sanctuary in the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, and their numerical strength were almost 3000. So this bird sanctuary attracts almost thousands of birds annually, and in light of this article, let us see the factual details about this bird. So the spot-billed pelican or the grey pelican is a water bird which is native to the South and the Southeast Asian countries, where they are known to be as one of the key species when it comes to the conservation of the wetlands, and they also play a crucial role in protecting the biodiversity of the wetland ecosystem, and at the same time is the key species for a lot of bird watchers and conservationists. So their scientific name would be Pelicanus pelipensis, And looking into their physical characteristics, they are medium sized pelican which can be up to 125 to 152 centimeter, and they have grayish white plumage. Plumage is nothing but their feathers. So the distinctive spotted bill would be having a fleshy pouch which should be used for catching their prey, that is the fishes. And this would be the image. This would be that fleshy pouch which is used for their fish catching purpose. And they do have pinkish skin around the eyes and have a bald head during their breeding season. So looking into their habitat and their distribution, they are known to be in the freshwaters, wetlands, marshes and lakes, estuaries. So they need a large water bodies for their survival, and at the same time they need undistributed trees or tall trees for their nesting, for their abundant fish need as their food. So looking into their distribution, they are known to be in the southeast, which can be India, Sri Lanka and Nepal, and they are known to be in the region of Southeast Asia, which can include Colombia, Vietnam and Myanmar. So the significant populations when it comes to India, states like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka host a large amount of pelicans. So looking into their diet and their behavior, they are carnivorous. They mostly feed on the fish. So their need to be in a large water along with the fish is their primary motive. They work as a group together to drive fish into shallow waters, and they use a pouch to scoop in the fish, and they drain water before swallowing it. Looking into their breeding season, winter would be the right time for the breeding season, which would be to October to March, and their peak activity would be from December to February. And as I told before, their nesting, they build into large sticks nest in colonies on the tall trees and so on. And they produce in 3 to 4 eggs per clutch, where both the parents are involved in the incubation and the feeding as they look into their parental care. Now looking into the conservation status, they are under the IUCN Red List, which is the nearly threatened, and these would be the threats which would be habitat loss, pollution and human disturbance, which ultimately hampers the wetland ecosystem. And they are protected under the Indian Wildlife Protection Act under the Schedule 4, and under the CITES Appendix 2 they are protected. As I told before, when it comes to the ecological importance, they share a significant role in bringing ecosystem services where they maintain the fish population balance. So through their presence, they stand as an indicator species where they reflect the wetland health ultimately. And also in cultural significance, they are known to be revered in a lot of local cultures and folklore and art. For example, for a country called Mauritius, their ancient preserved animal would be called dodo, which represents this pelican. And in their local culture, they have been revered a lot. And also in community-based conservation, Kokrabellu village of Karnataka, and we have seen the Uppalapadu and Nelapattu bird sanctuaries of Andhra Pradesh can be seen as a statement for their community-based conservation. Thus, this bird is not only seen as a pest controller when it comes to ecological importance, they are also having a lot of cultural significance. So I hope there is a clear understanding about the species. Now let us move on to an MCQ. The spot-billed pelican is primarily found in which type of the habitat? And the answer would be freshwater, wetlands and lakes. I hope you are at the final end of the video. Don't forget to give a like, comment and a share. And to further not to miss any other contents, subscribe to our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.